I'm Oscar with R3 Auto Detailing based out of Houston, Texas, and we offer premium paint correction services. So if you look at your car in the sun or maybe under some lighting conditions and you see a bunch of swirls and scratches or water spots in your vehicle, well, we're actually able to remove those out of the paint to reveal that shine and gloss and clarity that you want. So what is paint correction? So we're gonna actually cut and polish to remove 80 to 90% of the swirls and scratches from the paintwork. So cutting or compounding just means we're going after the heavy defects, the heavy imperfection. This is gonna remove most of the swirls and scratches from the paintwork. The second part to that is the polishing phase. So the first phase is to remove around 80% of the imperfections. And then the polishing phase is to refine the first step that's really gonna reveal that gloss and clarity in your paint. Now, depending on the size of your vehicle, the color, the condition, the type of paint work that it is, or more specifically, the clear coat that you have on your vehicle, will definitely dictate how long it takes, how much it'll cost, and the type of results that we can actually get. A small vehicle, let's say a 4-door sedan, might take much longer than a mid-sized truck just due to the condition and the type of paint that it is and the type of results that you want. So it really varies with price and time. Now, it can take 6 hours, it could take 12 hours, it could take 16 hours. It just depends on all those factors on what you want to get out of it and just the size and condition that will dictate how long it's gonna take. Now, for this specific service, we do require you to bring it into our shop and leave it here depending on the type of service that you want for maybe half a day, a full day, or multiple days, just so we can make sure we get the job done right. Not only are we gonna do the paint correction, but we first have to properly prep the paint first before we get to the paint correction process. So that's gonna be cleaning the wheels and tires, properly washing the vehicle, getting into all the jams, cracks, and crevices. We're going to clay bar the vehicle. We're going to do an iron decontamination on the vehicle. All in all, to make sure that when we start to do the paint correction, the paint is well prepped and there's nothing in the way. And what we're polishing and removing those swirls and scratches, that's what we're exactly doing. The prep phase is a very, very, very important part of the overall paint correction process. And you might be surprised, a lot of times when we get a newer vehicle, like let's say if it's a year old, 3 years old with very minimal miles on it, you might think this service isn't required. But we have picked up vehicles from the dealership with less than 100 miles, and that paint is still swirled up. Because you have to remember, when the vehicle is manufactured and it gets put somewhere in some other country or in some other state, then it gets shipped to where it needs to get. Then it gets docked and it sits in a parking lot for a little bit. Then it gets transported from there to the dealership, and from the dealership it gets handled a little bit more, and then it sits on the lot for however long. So in between all those times and places that it goes, it gets handled, it gets washed, it gets moved, it gets brushed upon, and by the time that you receive it, although it's a brand new car to you, the paint might have already gone through a few trouble spots as far as getting improperly washed and dried, which causes those swirls and scratches. So whether it's a 10-year-old vehicle or a 1 month old vehicle, to you it might be brand new, but the paint work still might require some level of paint correction or polishing to get the paint looking right. It's just gonna depend on your specific make and model, the year, the condition, how it was handled, because we've also had brand new vehicles that had not perfect, but good enough paint based on its age. So it really depends, but a lot of times we see that even brand new vehicles also need a good amount of paint correction to get it to where it should be. So if you're interested in learning more about our paint correction services or any other services that we offer to the Houston area, you can click down in the description box below and you can find more information on our website, or you can also find the contact details down below for our number or email. Talk to you soon.